Hey everybody, this is Wall Dog, the Holy Vampire Dude. Woo! I am a vampire, a increasingly famous one. Uh, Supernatural abilities, transforming, body, skin, brain. Brain is the important one. To think differently and have different abilities, um, some of which can be classified or categorized as different forms of ESP psychic abilities. I'm also an alpha male. If you don't know what that is, then that's unfortunate because what I am is what I would describe as a electricity bug that have like a electricity butt. Bear with me with this explanation. Imagine having a butt, or should I say a lower back to be more specific, that produced electricity that people within the area can feel. If you want to call that ESP, if you want to call that psychic, when I think of psychic, I'm laughing. Sorry, guys. So, like, in the movies, psychic is like from one brain of a person or something to another brain, right? How does it work if it's from like your butt, your butt or your lower back? I like saying butt because it's funny. If if my backside is relaying information to a person's brain, is that still psychic? Who knows? But is that what it means to be an alpha male? Of course not. But it is a good ability to have. Or should I say that I have? And to be honest, how do I know? Like, let me talk about this. I wasn't really planning on. I had a couple of things I could talk about. I probably will talk about to get off my chest. But when I first started to mature and develop my abilities, uh, frankly, when I moved here to Alabama, uh, being off my own, learning about things. Um, I was still very susceptible to things, learning as I went. And I want to make the comment that I've talked about this in the past, kind of like a nostalgia feelings. I don't really feel anymore. Like, you ever, you may or may not be aware that a person can pressure you into doing something or can use their energy and their words. Typically, that's how the combination words and energy and to manipulate and stuff like that. Well, the energy part of that I used to feel, and I felt less and less and less, which is an interesting supernatural phenomenon. I love talking like this, by the way. It sounds ridiculous, but this is how I feel. Okay, I'm being real. I'm trying to. And the I talked about a video earlier, like I don't know, 300 videos ago. I talked about how I don't really feel anything anymore as far as like my resistance to being pressured or being the energy. So clearly, what I was failing to realize back then is that I can be in different transformations mentally, and that if I'm in a powered up transformation, of course, a so-called superhero in a higher level powered up transformation ain't gonna feel nothing. But that same person who is struggling or who is low energy, he is gonna feel something, and that's what I didn't realize really on a couple hundred videos ago. So now with my evolution of thought, or my change of thinking, should I say, since I got let go of from my job, is that being low powered is great. It makes you human. You could be anybody and just feel low power, low energy, and just try to be yourself in that way. And it's beautiful. Even I've learned this as an adult. It's just an obvious thing in life is that there are some ugly things that I would say, well, that's kind of ugly. That person's not really trying their best or being at their best. Well, there's ugliness that is beautiful. That's what I'm trying to say. I think a person being themselves when they're tired or low powered, I don't think I know, but there's a special beauty to that, to be loved and appreciated. So so yeah. I'm watching a new series on Netflix. I should get back to watching my Love Is Blind, but I kind of got tired of that Love Is Blind series. There's like 50 spin-offs and like 50 seasons for every spin-off or whatever. I'm like, I'm kind of done. I've learned enough. I feel like I've learned enough about romance and that specific kind of romance. And I was not I was enjoying it, but I was also trying to compare myself and try to learn how to better myself because I'm struggling in certain areas of my life with because of communication or lack thereof, because I am a vampire. And and also, even if I wasn't a vampire, like, I don't know. It's kind of like an opinion or a guess. If I was just the me that was quote unquote supposed to be me, I guess, without you know any intervention, supernatural stuff, would that person have relationship issues? Probably not. I mean, that guy, before supernatural stuff happened to me, that guy didn't really have issues with communication. I think. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's a fair statement. I'm kind of. There's no real point to this. I mean, it's kind of like saying, hey, except maybe the only point would be try to pinpoint like things I could work on and like try to analyze like the supernatural stuff is really the problem, or if I'm just making excuses, which I am just making excuses. So, anyways, um, I'm reading two books that are kind of going hand in hand right now. Actually finished the first one talking about asking questions and getting to know each people, and having that interaction, closed questions, open questions, and it's a good book. And the second book I'm reading right now uh, is talking about negotiation. I mean, it's conversation being seen as a negotiation, like trying to, like the whole seems like the whole point of this book right now. The book's called Super Communicators, which I found kind of funny, talking about super stuff, supernatural. And the book is saying, hey, this is how I'm reading. I'm gonna paraphrase this. Okay, paraphrasing the book. Hey, guy who's reading this book, or girl, just hey, person that's reading this book. You should go into these conversations with new people with the right strategy. You should think in terms of strategy, you should think about three questions. The person you're talking to, are they being analytical? Are they being emotional? Or are they being wanting to talk about social stuff, like other people and how they feel about others? And once you figure one of those three out, which is the three common ones, or or what they feel like talking about, should I say, of those three categories. If you want to be a super communicator, if you want to connect with that person, you need to match how they're thinking. You need to match. You think analytically, they're thinking analytically, you think analytically, you speak that way until a connection is made. And I'm about 3/4 or 1/3 the way, maybe a quarter of the way through the book, and I've learned this much about this, and I think it's very interesting because it's using some jargon, some lingo, some verbiage, some vernacular, some vocabulary that's in the other book that I talked about. So it's almost like I feel it doesn't reference the other book, of course, but I feel like I just got a bachelor's degree, or an associate's, I should say, from reading the other book, and now I'm getting a bachelor's degree, or like upper level. It's like built upon that foundational knowledge, and I think it's pretty cool. I'm getting that vibe. Thank you. Yeah, like I realize that it's kind of difficult for me because I'm a gosh darn vampire, because I mean, I guess it's not so difficult. I'm trying to connect the two ideas. Like for me, I'm a pretty complicated creature, and I'll just say that without giving any particular explanation. You'd have to really know me a while to understand what I'm saying without specifically going into details. But I know in some ways I'm simple, some ways I'm very, very different. So when it comes to negotiation and conversation, so what is the goal? Like the book says, it's simple. It ain't manipulation. It's connection. Connection. Why would I want that? Why would another person want that? Well, the book is saying, well, it could be any number of reasons. But what I'm getting, what I'm extrapolating, what I'm pulling from the information of this book is that it says, oh, you could. What are they trying to get? What are you trying to get? Get on the same brain wave. But the thing is, there's I can see it. There's a piece that they're not saying. Like there's information that's not being presented. Is that if you speak to people about what they're caring about, and you get on their level of what you're caring about, what they're talking, what's going to happen is that there's going to be a magical moment where there's a connection made. It may not happen, but the chances are that there will be a connection. And once you have a connection with somebody, this is something that I'll just say, this is embarrassing for me. This is actually humiliating. I feel humiliation. It's sad. Is that I don't know what comes next. I say that because I'm not haven't read enough, and I lack some experience from living under a rock and being a vampire. But I know what I would want to say, what comes next, if I was to take based off of my emotional wisdom, is that the friendships, you had a connection with somebody, next day you see that person, they're like, hey bud, hey friend, hey friendo, how's it going? here's what I'm a little bit, I just brought up something an idea or something that makes me feel uncomfortable. Is when somebody has a connection with you and they're like, "Hey, friendo, hey, friend," which I've experienced, but you don't have a connection with them, or maybe you're still something wrong with you. This is what a thing I want to pinpoint. And at this video series, I talk about therapy videos, talk about different discussions, I talk about supernatural stuff, but this is what I want to talk about to try to figure out where is the line between what is should happen, like the connection part, and what is not happening because of supernatural stuff. Why am I not having a connection with people? And in my mind, I'm like, well, I refuse to give up. Because I have the spiritual connection. Spiritual connection is all I have. But the connection, not all. Well, let me not get too far off, please. Apologize. This is important to me. Because I don't want to give up until I don't want to believe that I can't have connection with people. I don't want to believe that. And I believe that with enough. I want to say I'm not trying hard enough, and that by practicing and learning these principles in these books, I can achieve that and feel that reciprocity, that connection, that back and forth, and feel that same level of connection with another person. Because, boy, oh boy, the spiritual connection part, I've got that figured out. Or at least I've got something figured out to the spiritual connection. Oh yeah. But the one-on-one, person-to-person connection, I'm failing. I know. I know. And if it is impossible for me to do that, because, maybe it's just who I am, maybe brain damage, maybe just, or it's something that I've acquired as a deficiency, one could say, as a supernatural. I want to be aware of it. I want to be, I want to own that. Like, I want to say that a deficiency that I have, or an inability, or a lack of something that's so important as this, I want to own it if it's truly something that I can't do. I talk about vampire numbness. I talk about different vampire stuff. The numbness that comes with certain transformations that can make one feel hollow, numb. I hope that it's not the case as a permanent thing. It's like, can I only feel how I am now to a deficit of where I don't feel anything? Or can I feel as I am now and have the potential to feel more as other people do? So I know there's more to it. Like, I know there's but I want to believe. I have faith in God. That goes without saying. Or should, but I enjoy saying it. I have faith in God. And I have faith in the people who are spiritually connected to me, people I call my goddesses, have faith in them. So I'm gonna get going, y'all. Thanks for letting me talk. I think a lot of these things, I would hope that in some ways, in some aspects, that people can relate. All right, y'all. I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good rest of your night, day, whatever. All right, bye.